the Chief Executive of the Ramadan Foundation, which is a Muslim organisation based in Manchester, joins me now. Mr. Rafiq, thank you so much for joining us. I'd just like to get your...
Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning. Your response to what's happened this morning.
Well, this was a despicable crime. It was a deliberate terrorist attack against innocent Muslims going about their business, praying outside, just finishing their prayers outside the mosque. And it was deliberately targeted to divide communities, as the London attacks were, the Manchester attacks were, and we must not allow either those of the far right or those on the fringes of the Muslim community to divide our communities. We're going to stand resolutely against this violence and this terrorism, and there should be no justification whatsoever for it.
Have you spoken to any of the people who were at the Muslim Welfare House this morning?
I've spoken to eyewitnesses on the ground who witnessed the van certainly going in to people who were coming out of the mosque. I've spoken to people, who the chairman of the Finsbury Park Mosque as well. So, there is real concern and anger at the moment that this terrorist atrocity has happened. But I would urge people to remain calm, to allow the police to do their inquiries. And I'm absolutely determined that the police will bring whoever is responsible to justice for this heinous crime. And my heart and my prayers go out to the victims and their families.
We've had the Muslim Council of Britain coming out and asking the authorities to increase security outside mosques as a matter of urgency. Will you be asking for the same thing in Manchester? Yes,
we've just written in the last hour to over 1,500 mosques across the country, asking all the mosques to do whatever precautions they need to take over the next few days. As your statement there from Haroon Khan said, Ramadan finishes next weekend. There are another 6-7 days of prayers in the evening, and obviously people will be feeling anxious. But, as we didn't give in to the Manchester attack and we didn't give in to the London attack, we won't give in to this far-right extremism. And we've got to take on the far-right narrative that we've seen so evidently in the media and on Twitter and social media, that we've got to take the narrative on as well.
The Muslim Council of Britain have described it as a hugely worrying growth in Islamophobia. Would you agree with that?
Yes, there is a rampant Islamophobia that has been on the increase, Kimberly, over these past few years. If it's not how Muslims dress, it's how Muslims eat. We've been demonized as a community. We've been held responsible for the actions of a small minority of people within our community who've been involved in terrorism. And we've been seen as an outside force. And when you have that environment, you see commentators, and the media perpetuate that vicious opinion about Muslims, then we see the likely chance of innocent Muslims being attacked. This is the most serious attack against the Muslim community. But again, I would say very clearly that we as Muslims, as Christians, as Jews, as people of Norfolk, standing absolutely united.
Okay, thank you. How are you going to talk to the members of your community as they start getting in touch with you this morning, as they wake up to this news? How are you going to address the situation with them?
Well, there's huge anguish and real concern amongst many people who've been contacting me over the last few hours. But, again, there's a resolute determination, if I may say so, Kimberly. People want to stand together. People want to defeat the stooge of terrorism. And we won't allow, as I said, the minority of Muslims who are involved in terrorism or the far right and their extremist supporters to divide our communities. And we're going to stand together, united against this evil.
Okay, how do we address, if there is this growing issue of Islamophobia, how does the UK as a community, how does it come together and address this issue?
We've got to change our language. We've got to start looking at inclusive language that brings people together, not what that divides people. And you see often in some of the commentators, I don't want to name them, you know who they are, I know who they are, your viewers know who they are, who perpetuate that vicious opinion about Muslims. We're vibrant members of our society and our country. We're patriotic, and we just want to get on with our lives. We don't want to be held responsible for the actions of a minority of terrorists, and we don't want to be deliberately targeted on our way to mosques.
Okay, Mohammed Shafiq, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Shafiq is the Chief Executive of the Ramadan Foundation, which is a Muslim organisation based in Manchester.